Alright, so the problem we were having on that machine over there is these things are we call them picks, and that's glue down in there. Glue gets on that roller, and we spread these out for the different size of labels that we're going to do. And you grab one of these and you run it through and you grab it, and it'll put a thin layer on the back, and you place it on the box, which is alright. It'll come through, and I'll flip it and I'll put it on there, then I'll run it through those rollers. Now sometimes when you bring a label through, it'll touch right here. This part will just slightly touch that, and what that does is it gets that part of the roller. Let me turn this off and I'll show you. It'll get it down there just slightly sticky, and then as you run them, it's wider, and it's wider than the way I'm doing it. The way I'm doing it, it's not going to peel it off. Well, anyways, the label will wrap up around there. This is a steel core in this rubber roller. A lot of people, when they get a label wrapped around there, they'll take a utility knife and just cut it. You don't cut into this rubber, because then it'll have gouge marks and it won't flatten the label out right. So that's number one. Number two is, now the guy that we got rid of over there, these will wear down. They're made of bronze or something. They're not as hard as that, because if they're just as hard as that, they'll wear lines in there. So every once in a while we have to file them. Well, because as they wear a little bit, they'll get a little burr on top, and I'll have to touch them up and everything. Well, they'll flip. When you bring a label through, they'll flip. Sometimes they'll get caught down in there and wrapped up around a roller. Well, the guy behind me, the one we got rid of, he'd get them caught in there, and he would take them out, and his picks, these picks have to be pointy. Let me show you a picture of what they're supposed to look like. All right, this is what they're supposed to look like. Now, his picks look like this. Now, that's bad. And they should, I can go 6-7 months without filing my picks, without them flipping and messing up and everything. So he kept getting them, needing them refiled every couple days. And I told him, I says, I just filed those 2 days ago. Well, I don't know. Well, we got rid of them. Like I said 2 other times, we hired another guy, and I went over there, and I says, I'm going to file his picks, and I'm going to look at his rollers and see, make sure everything's running nice. And I looked at this roller here. When he gets a label caught in there, he'll take a utility knife and cut the label out, and he'll leave grooves in here from that blade. And those grooves going around there just ground these things down, and you had to file them. These are like, I don't know what the price, 30, 40 bucks a piece or something. And the problem with these is I replaced these screws with stainless steel, because the ones that they give us, they rust in there and you can't take them out. So I had to take sandpaper, 300 grit sandpaper. I'll pick these rollers up, then I'll put 300 grit sandpaper. It wasn't enough. Or 400, it wasn't enough. So I went down to 220. And I ran the machine with the glue in 220, and I went pass after pass for like 10-15 minutes. And it took them scratches out. And he hasn't had any problems with it. And I think I went up to 400 after that, and he hasn't had any problems in 2 days. So don't use a utility knife on this roller either. It's just, maybe he didn't know, but that's something in the 3 decades of working here, nobody's ever done that I've known of, and that was causing so many problems with these picks, costing me time for doing it, costing the company time for me not working, and him being off. Oh, it takes about 10 minutes to fix them, though. But when they have an angle that bad, you have to sit there and put a whole new angle on it like it's before. So you can see how pointy they have to be. So And sometimes the pick bar is bowed. See how they go up and down? I always keep mine about right there. So sometimes when they get real bad, you have to keep filing them and put them more angle, and you have to make them longer, and it trial and error. But you know what? I've been doing it for a long time. I know what I'm doing. So there you go. No knife.